Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the YAP Podcast. I'm joined by a special guest, Mr. Millis. I already did an interview with him already, but I haven't posted that yet, so that'll come out soon. So, Mr. Millis, want to introduce yourself? What do you do?
I'm a teacher at Chaparral High School.
Chaparral High School, okay.
What type of teacher?
I teach government and economics.
Government.
Government and economics. Interesting.
Yeah. Have you guys have a government teacher?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and his name is Mr. Millis.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I wonder where's Mr. Millis? I wonder where.
Yeah. I'm right here. I hope you guys have enjoyed the class so far and learned lots about government.
I definitely learned a lot.
Yeah, a
A
lot.
lot.
Yeah. Somewhat.
100% prepared for the AP test.
I'm sure you are, Valerie.
Hopefully, Miss Cummings hears this.
Oh,
Let's not get into that.
on God.
So,
Let's not get into that controversy.
So, Mr. Millis, when we first started this podcast, you gave a fun fact about yourself. Do you have a fun fact about yourself? Anything cool?
Oh, a fun fact about myself. Ooh. I was 3 weeks late when I was born. Like, medically, they wouldn't do that nowadays. But I was to the point where, like, my lungs were developed and I was, like, breathing in the fluid of my mom's, like,
Okay.
insides. And so when I got out, they had to, like, take that out of me. And so, like, now they would induce that. And I was, like, I was 20. I was almost a, God, I can't remember how long. I was, like, really long, though. I was, like, really long, and I was, like, 10 pounds. It was crazy. I was, like, 22 inches, I think is what it was. 22 inches long as a baby, which is kind of crazy.
Okay.
Jesus Christ.
But it was only 9 pounds, 9 ounces. So that's
9
not,
pounds.
that's a big baby, but for 22 inches, my mom said, like, when I did come out, it was just like a string bean.
Were you guys premature or
That
anything?
explains a lot.
You
I
guys
don't
born on
think
time?
So.
I think I was
I-
premature.
Good.
I don't know much about my birth, but I think I was born on time.
You're born on time. What sign are you? What's your sign?
I don't know, are you trying to pick me up or what?
Whoa,
No, I'm just kidding.
whoa,
I'm just
whoa.
kidding. I don't really follow that stuff, but I'm a Gemini.
Okay,
Yeah, me
first
neither.
of all, Roman has a
Never
girlfriend.
It was a joke, all right? Let's just calm down here, Victor.
Oh, yeah.
I thought this was a fun
I figured
podcast,
it
all
would be
right? I didn't know if
interesting.
this was one of those. I didn't know if this was one of those podcasts when you can't tell a joke or anything.
No,
You can't tell a joke.
there's
alright?
not really no filter on this.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Except for like language, no?
Oh, language? You can't.
Language.
I mean, I'm not going to curse because I don't want to get fired.
Okay, so you can't say things like. Can I say it?
What?
Can I say?
No, stop.
No, I'm
Stop.
sorry, I
Okay.
can't say it.
I mean, yeah, we can talk about like, pretty much any topic. You just can't really.
Yeah.
You can't really. You
Yeah.
gotta be family friendly.
Yeah, I guess.
As
Sure.
family friendly as talking about, I don't know, what he talked about.
Yeah.
Like
Government class?
no, the fun fact.
Oh, that I was born 3
Yeah.
weeks. Hey, what's wrong with that?
There's nothing wrong with that.
Is that not family friendly?
It was family friendly. in the sense
Technically,
that
it
you
is
didn't
family
swear,
friendly
so-
because
Yeah.
you're forming a family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was how I was in addition to my family.
I'm dead. So, Mister, another question we had when we started our first episode. Can you turn off your phone? Again. Anyway, what's your favorite pizza place? We got in a big argument about this.
Oh, it's tough. I mean, so, like, out here, there's a place called Rosati's that I like to go to. Rosati's, yeah, it's a chain, but they're based out of Chicago. But where I'm from in Wisconsin, they have a thin crust pizza, a Chicago style thin crust. So Chicago's famous for the deep dish, right? It's got the thick thing, it's got the cheese on, the
Yeah.
cheese, and then the sauce on top. But then they have a thin crust one where you always have this. It's a circular pizza that's always cut in squares, right? And they always have a little bit of sauce around the edge. And the only place you can get it out here is Rosati's. But in Wisconsin, there's like every town has like a little, like it's usually like an Italian immigrant from Chicago who just started a little pizza place in town. In Oregon, Wisconsin, where I grew up, it was
Oregon?
it's pronounced Oregon there. The state's Oregon. The town is Oregon. So
Oh,
okay, that's just the
interesting.
way it goes. But in Oregon, Wisconsin, they had a Maria's Pizza was the one that I would go to. And
You said the Chicago is known for the deep dish. I thought it was Detroit.
no,
That was
Detroit's
one of the dish.
Detroit style. Detroit is a Detroit style. It's a different pizza.
Yeah.
That's Detroit style pizza. It's a little different. There's You know, I'm not going to go into the nuanced differences between a Detroit style and a deep dish, but that's for another podcast, I think.
Do you
Pizza
believe?
podcast?
Do you
So
believe?
the pizza podcast could be. I think that's a podcast right there.
Do you believe pineapple goes on pizza?
Oh, see, this is I have no problem with pineapple on a pizza.
Ew.
I don't have a problem
Ew.
with it either.
Ew.
See, what I was telling them last time was that people drink like anchovies, or not drink, what the hell? Drink,
Ew.
Oh, yeah, let me
they
just
eat
drink. Let me
they
just
eat
drink.
anchovies and
Let me just drink a
sardines
couple
and
anchovies.
black olives on pizza, and no one those are gross. No one talks about those.
Yeah.
So they should talk about those rather than pineapple.
So I mean, I
Still
like
though, like-
I like pineapple with bacon, pineapple with ham, pineapple with Canadian bacon. Those are the combinations I like. But here's the thing I don't understand about pizza. If we're going to get into it, how come a vegetable costs the same as a meat if I'm adding a topping? You know what I mean? Like I go to Subway, I get all the vegetables I want for free. You know what I mean? Eat fresh. But on a pizza,
yeah,
I don't get, you know, on a pizza, you're going to get like, I'm going to go, oh, like I'm like, okay, I'm going to pay for the sausage and the pepperoni. But am I going to pay for some extra onions on there? I mean, the onions
Who
make it
even
taste.
puts onions on pizza?
Oh, what's wrong with the onions and green peppers and sausage?
onions are good only when they're grilled.
Oh.
Onions are good on a pizza, in my opinion.
Raw
I like
onions
onions
are
on a
gross.
pizza. See, I'll eat onions raw on other stuff, but not on a pizza. That's gross. They got to be cooked. You got to cook. You cook your toppings on a pizza.
Do you
I
ever
mean, I
feel-
hope it's cooked. If you're eating raw onion on a pizza, I don't know what to tell you.
Well, what is your guys' favorite kind of pizza here?
I mean, my favorite is just pepperoni.
Yeah.
I mean,
Classic.
we live in since we live in Vegas, we don't really have we're not really known for pizza, I guess. So like,
No duh.
I feel like the only pizza place I've ever only really gotten is like Domino's Pizza Hut.
My family
Papa
always
John's, you know.
my family always gets Little Caesars. That for the price that hits.
Little
It hits
Caesars
different.
used to be cheaper.
I know it used to be cheaper, but it's still
I used
like
to like Little Caesars. because it was
relatively,
cheaper.
it's still one of the cheaper restaurants to get pizza for.
You know where I get the cheap pizza from? The grocery store.
The,
Ew.
I mean,
the frozen one or
Ew.
what?
No.
Hey, I'll get a rising
No.
DiGiorno. You know, like it's not delivery,
No.
it's DiGiorno.
Ew.
The DiGiorno's pretty good.
I mean,
Ew.
frozen pizza. I
Oh,
guess I could.
I didn't know that
I could-
we're having a hoity-toity pizza
I
conversation over here.
I could screw with, you know, frozen pizza, but I don't know. I just prefer restaurant like that
Screw it.
restaurant pizza. I think just having like restaurant pizza is just way better than frozen pizza in my opinion. I think it's worth the price of Little Caesars.
I don't know. I don't know if Little Caesars
Alright.
is going to taste a whole lot better than a frozen pizza. You know what the secret is? Frozen pizza? You cook it, but you don't cook it the whole time it says you can do it, and then you broil it. You broil it so the top gets nice and crunchy and golden.
I see. Okay. We keep talking about food. I guess that's what we did last time. So since you're a teacher, let's go ahead and ask some teacher questions. So
All right.
what's the craziest? Do you have a craziest student? Can you talk about that? Do you have like any crazy experiences as over your time as teaching?
Well, there's stuff that I can't talk about. Like, there's things that like happen that are private, you know, about stuff like
Yeah.
that with people that's crazy, you
Yeah.
know. I mean, like, because there's like crazy sad and kind of, you know, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I do got some stuff, so I'll tell you some funny stories. How about some funny stuff?
Yeah,
There was a
some
kid.
stories.
I've told this story probably to some people, but we had a dress up like adults day last year at Mojave where I taught last year, and I had a student who came in dressed as Jeffrey Dahmer, and really, and it was pretty funny, and then so then another student that same came dressed up as I was gonna say the wrong person. It came as American Psycho. I was trying to think of the guy, the actor name.
Patrick.
I know who you're talking about.
And I know what you're talking about. Yeah, but he came.
The Sigma guy, as they put
Yeah,
him.
I know. Yeah.
Right. Anyways, yeah, great actor. He came as them. So that was pretty crazy. As far as like crazy stuff,
Patrick
there
Stewart?
was a fight that happened in one of my classes. There was a crazy thing that like that kind of thing. And one time I had all my kids email the head principal of a school.
I wonder which
Vaguely
one.
remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I wonder.
yeah.
How many kids got responses?
None.
None.
Yeah, because I never got one. It's like,
No, I was disappointed about that because I mean I think that the reason why I did that is because Ms. Cummings said, hey, I'll just follow the rules. I said, oh, I'll follow the rules too. And you guys got the First Amendment right to email a member of to petition the government, right, is in the First Amendment, and that applies through the 14th Amendment. And so I was just giving you, that was, something there. And so I actually do have I still am planning on looking into legal actions. Let's say that I have a couple
Legal
more.
actions.
Oh no, I am going to sue the school for it. They gave me a punishment for it. Yeah.
Using the Constitution.
Yeah, I mean
freedom of speech.
So there is a teacher right now that they punished him for posts he made on social media at his school, and he sued the school district, and he settled. But I'm looking. I found his lawyer, and so then I'm going to ask, since his lawyer's had success, I'm trying to set up my next step, set up a consultation with them and just see how that goes. I mean, maybe we'll see what happens. But yeah, that's my plan with it, because she took away we took the right to have a guitar in class, and she took that away, and that's her. She had the authority to do that, but we had the right to tell her what we thought about it, and then by her punishing me for that.
Seems
That's a violation of
First Amendment.
Yeah, violation of the First Amendment through punishing me for teaching you guys to, express your First Amendment rights.
You know a lawyer you could definitely trust?
Oh my God, stop.
Saul Goodman.
Saul Goodman.
Oh.
How did you know?
Again with the Breaking Bad reference.
I think that blonde chick that he's with is probably better. She seems
Kim
like
Wexler?
Kim Wexler. That's right. She'd probably be
Yeah.
more. She probably would read some books and figure out the law, and Saul would probably figure out how to break the law to help me win.
Or scheme something to make it seem like you didn't break the law when you
How much of your podcast just turns into Juan
Bro,
talking about
he did.
talking about?
Bro,
No. Because last time he was good about that. He didn't mention it till the end, and now he's just Breaking Bad.
Listen.
Yeah.
This is gonna be the last time, all right? I promise.
Okay. If you say it again, we're gonna punch you.
We're gonna keep
Whoa.
Hey, let's not
Hey,
get
that's
to
called a
physical
threat.
violence.
That's a threat. And it's not good. It's not good to do things that would get you in trouble on camera and recorded. And then in front of 3 teachers.
It's a joke.
All right, I know. If anybody's gonna
Stop crossing your fingers.
Yeah.
It's a joke. I crossed my toes.
You don't say
See you
it.
after school. I'm joking.
Oh, nah. That's
What were you gonna
crazy.
say, Juan?
Nothing else.
Just more Breaking
other
Bad
than-
stuff.
I swear
But
to
yeah, it's
God.
kind of ironic how the whole, suing thing, and you teach us in a government class. Kind of funny.
Well, I mean, so we'll see what happens with it. I was trying to, see how it would play out, but that is my plan right now, is to proceed, is to see how that goes.
It's certainly one way to teach class, doing it literally.
I think that it would be something that, I would teach. I started my own small business this year, and so,
Really?
yeah.
What is it
So
called?
it's called Bad Dog Boards,
Bad dog.
What is that? What is it?
selling cutting boards.
Cutting boards.
Yeah.
Big board. You're selling cutting boards.
Yeah, end grain wood cutting boards, some high end type ones. Yeah.
Would you get into what's it called when you make knives and stuff?
Oh, I mean that's different. So making knives is I can't remember what you call it. Is bladesmithing is what you actually call making
Something
a knife?
like
Is
that.
it bladesmithing would be? But I don't. I don't do any of that. So I make stuff out of wood. So I'm planning on making a guitar at some point. I'm probably gonna buy the neck for the first one, but I might try to make next too. But right now I'm focused on just cutting boards. I have a shop that I'm setting up, and
Right. Right.
that's kind of a second. I was thinking about leaving teaching, but now I'm kind of going, well, I might try to. I'm gonna try to go to a different school for sure. But
Right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to teach or coach wrestling for a couple of years.
I mean, this
That'd
will
be
be our
cool.
last year, so can we talk crap about the school or?
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you got the First Amendment right. I'm gonna say right now that yes, you do. You can. So there are things that we can talk. We actually haven't got to this part yet, but we're gonna talk about our Tinker versus Des Moines, and we're gonna talk about some First Amendment. But you guys have the First Amendment to express your opinions.
Right.
As much as you want when it comes to that stuff, or not as much as you want for the most part, but you have to, so long as you don't take it past certain things. So there are things in school that they can say that is your free speech causing people not be able to learn at school. Like, I can't stand up in my class and start yelling at my teacher and go, I got free speech. You go, well, no, because these other kids have a right to their education. So there's a balance that always has to be in there. But you guys definitely have the right to express what you, and I've told kids all year long, and I've had kids come and complaining about stuff going on in school, and I say, hey, you know, don't complain to me. There's nothing I can do about it. But if you had your parents call and complain, and or if you had your parents call the media and complain, and then you use the right kind, and you say, you know, this wouldn't fly at Coronado or Palo Verde, right, which are known for being for wealthy kids there, right?
Yeah.
And you might get some stuff happening, right? Because that's how you actually are gonna making your voice heard, calling out the things you see as wrong is an important thing.
Wouldn't it be crazy if you got shut down second episode into the podcast?
Nah.
Dude, that would be the best.
If that happened, that would be violation of our First Amendment rights.
Well, so again, if they shut you down because they didn't like the content you were saying and it wasn't something that was like out of bounds, violating a school policy, right, then it would be, right? Then you could say, like, if it was like, oh, because you said you didn't like Miss Cummings or whatever, yeah.
Case. And no, I'm talking about another lawyer.
Okay. Another lawyer.
Another lawyer, yes. Not that lawyer, the other lawyer.
Valerie, can you say something?
Yeah, I don't know what to say though. Like,
ask Mr. something.
Mister, who's your favorite student in our class?
But I was gonna ask that.
Ooh.
Too bad.
They're all my favorites.
No, you gotta pick one.
If I had to pick one,
is it like Jose or something?
All right. Let's say you're on a desert island, right? You're on a
Juan, let him answer the question.
yeah, I'm not going to answer the question. I'm on a desert island, and I can only have one student with me. None of you, all right? I don't want any of you. I like some water and some food.
Would you pick your wife?
I mean, maybe.
Maybe.
Oh,
right. Whoa. Hey, let's say. Okay. So I'm stuck on a desert island where I might not survive.
No.
And so what? I'd want my wife to be there with me so that she's stuck on it too. I mean, maybe I want her to go and move on, live your life.
You're stuck on a desert island.
Good recovery.
With unlimited supplies, private vacation, rest of your life. Who are you picking?
Oh, okay. Yeah, maybe I guess my wife.
I guess.
You only get one person. That's tough. What about, do my dogs get to come?
No.
Oh, that's tough. That's tough. I don't know that I want to do.
Are you picking between your wife and your dog?
No,
that's
but she wouldn't. She'd pick the dogs over me for sure. 100%. She'd be like, oh, no. He's like, yeah, I could find another guy, but these dogs, I love these dogs. Now, I don't know. But I mean, I don't know. Who's my favorite in the class? I don't really say. There are students out there who it's really cool that you make a connection with, and you get to know and that kind of stuff. And that's, that's cool. And you like that stuff. And you're going to remember lots of kids for the rest of your life. You know what I mean? And some kids you get to know more than others. But I really don't have like a favorite of students that, but you do get, but there are kids, there are some, more what you have is kids who are quiet and kids who, keep to themselves more, and you have kids who are more, you get to know and you get to, and that's fun. That's the part of being a teacher that's the fun.
You like each student differently.
Yeah, and I mean, each student is their own person, and sometimes you have like Valerie, and I got to know right away because she's loud, and she doesn't have, and she's no, I shouldn't say loud. I shouldn't say loud, but Valerie's an extrovert. She's an extrovert. She's not an introvert, right? Right. Right. But then you have, well, also rude, but also an introvert. An extrovert.
No,
but then you have a lot of students who that table who sits to the back of you, right?
Why do you pick on Julian so much?
I don't pick on him.
Yeah, you do.
You do.
I don't. I mean, I'm just kidding around with him.
Let him be. He's an introvert. You're over here calling him out. That's like a
they're
worst
my table.
nightmare.
Listen, I just like to call out my table of introverts because I go, hey, how's my little table of introverts doing over here? And that's it's just because they all sat together.
That's funny.
I mean, there's my favorite one of my favorite shows is Ted Lasso, and one of the episodes he goes, hey, all you introverts, come on over here. And then he goes in there like, oh, that's a trick question, because if you really were introverts, you wouldn't have answered that, right? And it's kind of like, it's kind of a funny thing. But maybe I should go apologize to Julian since you think you think. I mean, I guess why do you pick on everybody all the time?
Oh, yeah. I only pick on my friends. It's different.
Yeah, so I also tell people, like I told Juan this.
Julian is not your friend.
Okay, so I pick on people who I like. Pick on people who I like. That's kind of, I would say it this way, like it's kind of my,
Devin.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, I do. I remember like. So I had two coaches that were like in high school. I had my head football coach who was like, you would never say anything bad to him. He would just be like, whatever. And then I had my wrestling coach who I just ripped on all the time, and I goofed off, and I made fun of him, and I did stuff all the time. And I knew him because I was friends with his son too. But he joked around back with us, and he was kind of like I am. And I liked him way better because he was more approachable, and he was like, it was like a real kind of relationship with him. But he actually cared about his kids, right? When like you could see when a kid got hurt on the mat or something, he was out there and he was like, "Are you okay? Can you keep going?" And he was, for a jerk kind of a guy, he was, a good guy. And so that's kind of where I'm kind of the same way, where I like to be able to give people a hard time about stuff and, mess with them. And like Juan is a good example. Like I really, like I wasn't gonna say why I'm so mean to Julian, like Juan. Just like, I mean, I pick on Juan all the time. Like I'm like every day I give Juan just, and there's other kids. There's Abdul.
Yeah.
Like Abdul always got that guilty look on his face, and so every time I see Abdul, I just go, "Abdul, what are you doing?" He go, and he just gives you that weird look. What? And he always looks guilty, and so it's just fun to mess with him. But I mean, I like it because I like him.
I would love to see what happens in your honors classes.
Oh Lord.
I mean, they're about the same.
Do you have a least favorite class?
Yeah, I do got a least favorite
which
class.
one?
Which one?
Oh, it's my 8th grade class.
Are they like basic?
It's a 8th period. It's a government. It's a class. So the thing about it is, so like all my classes went through the same thing the first quarter or so, and then I took over Mr. Spale's 8th period class, and so they kind of came in without all that stuff, and so it's a little just kind of like everyone's like, And so that one they have the most troublemakers.
Sorry, 8th period. Yeah.
Yeah, if you watch this 8th period. It's not that I have a lot of great kids in 8th.
Your kids with Mr. Millis?
He doesn't like it.
Yeah.
Oh, I said no. No.
Could it be me?
No, that's not what I said. I said they were my least favorite class. That's a different thing. That's a different thing.
All right, who's your favorite then?
Oh, it's tough.
Not our class.
Not ours.
I mean, my 5th period class is a regular ed class. It's a really great class, right? So that's, that's kind of that's a pretty good class. I like them a lot. You guys, you guys' class is easy because you just be like, here, do this work, and you get an A, and everybody be like, oh, do it. I'll let everybody
Wait, people do work in our class?
Huh?
Yes, people do work.
Okay, Juan, be quiet. You and Jacob are like the ones that do the most.
Hey, this is how you get. I hope that Miss Cummings doesn't see this thing. This is how she's gonna start coming in there like putting. And there's like I assign lots of work.
Hey, I procrastinate to the max. I finish it all last minute and I turn it into an A.
I
always say to
100%.
myself, I'm gonna do it every day to myself. I'm gonna do this work and then I don't do it. Like
He does
ever.
do it. He's lying. I copy off of you. That's how I know you do it.
Look, if you procrastinate, you got more time to think about it and more thoughts to form. And
You're just... No, you're lying.
No.
But most of my classes are about the same. My first classes of the day are tired, like every class is always, and then the last class of the day, kids are ready to leave. You know what I mean? It's kind of you have those things. My 2 honors classes, one of them was started off really good, and they've kind of gotten like a little bit, they're kind of like they need to get, they need to, if I really wanted to, I should probably try to tell them to get in gear a little bit more. And then my 6th period, that's my 4th period. My 6th period one's pretty good. But you don't know what a funny thing is? Like, I've never listened to a podcast ever.
Really?
Yeah.
Not one.
No, I listened to one. That's you know what? I listened to the first episode of Huberman Lab because people were bugging me about it. You ever? It's this guy who does it's like health and fitness and stuff. He's he's like a neurologist from Stanford who does a thing, and it's my brother's like, you gotta listen to this thing, and so I was like, this is boring. It's like this guy was like, if I want to learn stuff, I just go back to school.
I only listen to true crime podcasts.
Oh really?
Bro, it's so basic. Do you listen to podcasts?
What about the Joe Rogan podcast?
I know that Joe Rogan's is an idiot. And so
That carries a lot.
like the only time I've come across Joe Rogan's podcast is where you see, like, you know, he'll have, like, there's been a few times where he had, like, Elon Musk was smoking weed on it, and that was on the news and stuff like that, right? So those things, right? Those things.
Very controversial stuff.
Too many images.
Where it's like, but it's where things like that where it becomes news. But and then other times I see is like there's some kind of like misinformation that he's spreading is the other thing. Like I was watching Netflix and there was like, a documentary about the you know, early humanity, and I'm a history teacher and, you know, I'm interested in that. And then I see Joe Rogan pop up in the thing going, and Joe Rogan, oh yeah, you're like a guy talking to this guy who the rest of the scientific community doesn't accept, and I'm like, oh geez. So then I got to look at this guy and go, well, what's this documentary about? And it ends up being about this guy who says that, oh well, all the civilizations, early civilizations were connected, and the reason we know this because they all built pyramids. But has no training or anything like that, and you go, oh really? The simplest structure that's wider at the bottom and smaller at the top, that they all figured out that they're, you know, or that they couldn't have figured that one out independently.
Funny part is if you look at if you looked at two random civilization buildings, you will see that they're actually way more different. Their variation of the pyramid was way different than the other.
Sure, and that idea that's going to do it when you can look at genetics. Right, anthropology, archaeology, all of the other things. No, that's all wrong. But the pyramids look the same. So let's go ahead and make a documentary series on Netflix about this.
Let's drag it for an hour.
Do you believe in some like crazy like conspiracy? Like, do you believe like Atlantis exists? Do you believe in UFOs?
Do you believe in aliens?
Oh, I think that. Do I believe that there's life outside of Earth? I believe that's probably yes, almost certainly yes. Yeah, 100%. Do I believe that there's intelligent life out there? I think that's also probably yes. Right? I mean, that's so when is it? But do I think that there are now? But that being said, do I think that there's evidence that aliens are on Earth? I've never seen that. Do I think that there's any other conspiracy? I think that there are cover-ups and conspiracies that have happened. There's a thing in. So I think it's pretty likely that when you guys know who Boris Yeltsin was.
Boris Yeltsin, the former president of Russia.
Right, and then when he leaves power and Vladimir Putin takes over, there's an apartment building that looks like it was blown up from the inside, right? And you know, and they blamed it on Chechen rebels, and they created this Chechen. Then they went after Chechnya, and the plot of it. But there's a lot of people that saw it as, hey, let's try to have this be what they would call the false flag. Now, that is a thing that I think is really that happened, but because there's evidence to back that up, you know what I mean? Now, but it isn't a known fact for sure, and I think that there's things like historians suspect that the Nazis burnt down the Reichstag, their government building, and blamed it on the Jews, and that was another one that I think is likely, although it's not a proven thing to have happened.
It seems like
but when you're talking about other things, like, you know, if you look at, like, let's take the moon landing, right? Did they fake the moon landing?
Oh
no,
that's an interesting one.
No. Here's the thing. Really let's take this. It would have been harder with the technology of the 1960s to fake the moon landing, right? And then it would have been to actually send a rocket to space, right?
I still believe it's fake.
No, and that's fine. But here's the other thing: it would have taken about 200,000 people to fake that moon landing. And then you can mathematically figure out how long it would take for somebody to release some credible evidence, because there are conspiracy theories we know about. Edward Snowden, the government was spying on us and they lied about us, and we know that because he released evidence of it. You can look at the Pentagon Papers. The government lied about what was going on in Vietnam, and we know about it because the Pentagon Papers came out. Iran-Contra, right? There are things that we have seen, and the reason we know about them is because evidence comes out about it. And so I do think when you ask that, that's why it's kind of a complicated question, because there are probably conspiracies out there. Yeah. But, right, what it is does the vaccine got a microchip in it? You know what I mean, right? Or it's like, and everybody could be, well, I got a cell phone that, I don't want them tracking me, let me go on here.
5G is
you know what I mean? Right? And so there's a ton of that misinformation that goes out there, and that's not what, and I get why sometimes it seems like, right? You know, and there are times even like with the Kennedy assassination, and I'm not going to sit there and say that, I don't know, that I know all the details of what happened there. But I think it's pretty obvious that Oswald shot 3 shots out of the building. That was plausible. He's a Marine. They're the best trained marksmen in the world, all that kind of stuff. The way the ballistics of that gun works, it was, there's a lot of stuff where they made it seem like it's crazy. But then there's also a lot of questions that still are left unanswered about why did he get shot? You know what I mean? And there's, and so to me, I believe that you say, I don't know until I know, until I got the evidence to prove it. And then if I find evidence that disproves me, I'll throw in my old belief and bring a new one in.
You believe in like credible sources, basically. Like,
for sure, yeah.
For like the government and like classified files being released and stuff like that. Basically.
Yeah, I mean, I have a history degree, so with a history degree, that's what you're really learning. Like I get a lot of history teachers. They go, oh yeah, like we got to learn the history. You go, well, you teach the past and myth, right? What history really is going, how do I find? You never go, well, let me read this thing. You'd go, I'm going to look and see what is this before I read it, right? And I should do a better job of teaching you guys that, but I don't.
Yeah.
Maybe on Thursday.
Can't
we'll do
fix what's already broke. Can't fix what's already broken.
That should have been what your mom
You can
named
learn
you.
from it.
Whoa!
Whoa! You're one to talk.
I know. My mom. You know what? Here's another story. So because. You want to go back to my fun fact?
Okay.
Here,
we got 3 minutes, so. Yeah,
well, we're gonna go. These are gonna be great 3 minutes to end this podcast on. All right. All right. So my mom had my brother when she was like 17. Right. My parents got pregnant young, and my mom had like a lot, and I don't know how many miscarriages between my brother and me, and enough where a doctor says you'll never be able to have a baby again, and so then she got pregnant, and she was like, oh, it's a miracle. And then I came in late, and they're like, oh, it's a tough pregnancy, all this stuff. And then she goes, and so they named me Samuel, because in the Bible, if you know your Bible, Samuel it means blessing from God, and he's like a prophet that I think is Ruth.
You can't talk about religion.
I can talk about religion in school if it's not me telling you what to believe, right? But in the Bible, so my mom named me Samuel, meaning blessing from God. Well, then 18 months later, she had my little brother Joe. And then she has told me many times since then that it turned out she was wrong, and that I was not a blessing from God, and that I was not just because it clearly wasn't a miracle because the doctor who said you probably can't have kids anymore was just wrong, because my brother came out later, but also because I was not a great son.
Wow.
There you go.
Well, that's
great
interesting way of ending the podcast.
Mr. Millis is a mistake, I guess.
I was.
Not the first time.
I was actually no. I'm actually the one child in my family that was not a mistake.
Me too.
To be honest, I was the only one they planned, but they just didn't think they were gonna be able to. I was supposedly a miracle, but then my mom was mistaken that I was actually not a miracle, more like a curse.
Okay. Well, thank you, Mr. Millis, for joining the podcast. I wish it could be a little bit longer. Hopefully, we can get you again. Maybe talk about more conspiracies or something.
Sure. Yeah.
Maybe we can talk about more about government stuff, like.
I do that enough, all right, Juan. I teach that class. Sure.
People already know work, so.
Or maybe rile more people up. I don't know.
All right. Well, good luck on your podcast. All right. Maybe I will do another one before the school year's over.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for listening to the YAP Podcast. See you guys later.
See ya.
Bye.
Sorry it was a short episode. Remember, Break Bad.
Shut up, Juan.